With some schools now asking students to disclose their vaccine status, many divorced parents are feeling anxiety around the decision, especially if they disagree on whether or not their children should be vaccinated. Joining us now with more is Alyssa Bach, associate lawyer at Shulman Partners. Good morning, Alyssa. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Candace. Thank you for having me.
So if there is a fundamental divide between divorced parents on vaccinating their kids, what should they do? Does the law say anything about this?
Well, one of the first things that parents would want to do is try to understand where the other parent is coming from. Is it that a parent feels that the child has a particular health concern that would prevent them from getting the vaccine? Is there another underlying reason why they don't think that it's appropriate, or why they do think that it's appropriate? Starting that conversation, because when it comes to vaccines, it's very polarizing. If you have one parent who says yes, another who says no, there's not really a middle ground. As far as what the courts are looking at, they're always looking at what's in the best interest of the children. We are starting to see case law coming through where the courts are looking at it and saying that they're essentially diverting to what the government and public health are recommending. So if you're seeing that the overarching theme is that you should be vaccinated, that unless there's a compelling reason to the contrary, that's where the court's typically going to fall. So that's something that parents also want to keep in mind before they take the time and expense of going into a lengthy court battle.
I see. And the other branch, I guess, of the vaccination question is that now some Ontario schools are beginning to ask students to disclose their vaccine status. So what should divorced parents do if they disagree on whether or not they should disclose?
When it comes to disclosure, you want to look at a couple things. First, whether or not there's a parent who has decision-making responsibility for the child. Is it something that the parents have to make that decision together, or is it something that a parent has the authority to be making that decision on their own? And then again, you want to understand where the other parent is coming from. And from there, you would want to determine, is the school mandating it, or is it just a recommendation at this point? Because if it's something that's going to be impacting your child and perhaps not being able to attend school in person, then you want to be, again, looking at that best interest test. And is it something that you should be disclosing?
Now, the rollout of vaccine passports has also kind of added fuel to this fire for many divorcees trying to co-parent. What conflicts are you seeing when it gets brought up, and how can divorced parents navigate through them?
One of the main things that we're noticing is that through the summer months, parents had a lot of outdoor activities. We didn't have the vaccine passports in place. And now that we have the vaccine passports, combined with the fact that we've got colder weather, it's preventing parents from being able to do certain activities like indoor sports activities or attending the movies with their children, activities that they would have otherwise done if their child and them are not vaccinated. And so that's where we're getting some of those questions now is, how do we get these things implemented? How do we get it moving so that they can do all of those things as we come into the colder weather?
Okay, and now studies are also underway for the younger age group of 5 to 11. What do you anticipate will happen when that approval takes place, and what impact do you think that will have on decision-making for divorced parents?
I think that one of the biggest things that we're looking at is that right now, with the vaccine being approved for that 12 to 17 range, in Ontario, we have the Healthcare Consent Act. So what that is it's saying that a person can consent to receive treatment as long as they can provide informed consent. And so with older children, it can be easier to obtain that informed consent, meaning they don't necessarily need their parents' consent to be getting vaccinated. With younger children, it's going to be more difficult to be getting perhaps a 5-year-old's informed consent, and that's when it becomes more of a parent-to-parent decision.
Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.